Aquí está. So hello to all. Good afternoon. Welcome. And today we are welcoming Zaira Ortiz Laso. She has a bachelor's degree in mathematics and a master's degree in teacher training in compulsory and upper secondary education, also in math, both granted from the University of Cantabria in Spain. She's currently doing her PhD in mathematics education in the same university under the supervision of Professor Diego. Her PhD focuses on characterizing the contribution of this discipline under the STEM approach: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Zaira has participated in several EU-funded projects for promoting this education in high school regular lessons, including STEAM for Youth, Horizon 2020, STEAMTeach, Erasmus Plus, and Mathematics EduLARP, Erasmus Plus. So it's my pleasure to give the floor to Zaira, and she's going to talk about design and implementation of a STEAM professional development program for Spanish high school teachers. Please, Zaira, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla, and thank you for your invitation. I am going to share my screen. Is okay?
Yes, yes, yes.
It's okay now?
Yeah, thank you.
I am okay. So I am Zaira from the University of Cantabria, and in my presentation, I am going to speak about how we have designed a STEAM professional development program for Spanish high school teachers. I belong to the Open STEAM group, that is an interdisciplinary group at the University of Cantabria, focused on the teaching and learning of mathematics through a STEAM approach. We collaborate internationally with different universities and researchers, as for example, Carla. And our group is divided in researchers, trainers, and trainers that try to disseminate STEAM education at European level. And our final aim is to develop a repository with STEAM activities that has been implemented in regular lessons to be reused by other teachers. And we try to improve and to incorporate new STEAM activities or projects every year in our repository. So from more or less from 2015 to 2019, we have been focused on the promotion of STEAM education in Spanish and other countries in Europe. We have been focused on the promotion of STEAM education. However, our results suggest that it's necessary to train teachers, especially high school teachers, to be able to implement the STEAM education. So now we are focused on teachers training on STEAM education. Why teacher training in particular in Spain? Because Spanish high school teachers are subject specific. That is, they obtain a degree, for example, a degree in maths, and then they take a master degree to become a teacher during 1 year. And then they are qualified to teach mathematics. In addition, the new Spanish curriculum, we are going to implement a new, or we have designed and we have a new curriculum in Spain that it is going to be implemented since September. And this curricula speaks about STEAM education and the development of the STEM competence. However, teachers have not been officially trained to do that. The government is promoting STEAM education, but teachers have not been trained to do that. So, how we have promoted STEAM education during or along 6 years, more or less. We try to incorporate STEAM project-based learning and the KICS format. What is a STEAM project-based learning? It's a student-centered methodology that promotes the integration of content, the definition of problems, and the device of strategies for solving them. In addition, we try to incorporate the KICS format, that is Kids Inspiring Kids in STEAM, that is the name of our initial project on STEAM education. And this format try to promote the project dissemination and the student interaction with a variety of audience. For example, how we can see how a girl is disseminating her project, a vertical garden, during the European Researchers' Night. But now, as I have mentioned, we are focusing also on teacher training. So our aim or our objective is to identify the main principles to be included in a STEAM professional development program for high school teachers, and to design a STEAM professional development program for those teachers. What we have to achieve our objectives is to interview different open STEAM group members, some trainers and researchers, with more than 5 years of experience on the implementation of STEAM education. And we have also interviewed other STEAM trainers that have not been participating with in the open STEAM group initiatives. Our results indicate that the main principles to be included in the professional development program is that teachers need to acquire knowledge about the STEAM education and resources. Why? Because according to our experience and STEAM trainers' views, many teachers lack knowledge about what STEAM education is and its objective. Consequently, we should offer teachers theoretical knowledge on STEAM education, and in addition, showing good practice in STEAM education. We have also, our results indicate that teachers do not know how students feel when implementing STEAM activities, because they were training in other way, in a traditional way. So we propose to implement STEAM activities during the professional development programs to experience students' difficulties. And in addition, some teachers do not know about the main advances on resources for teaching. So we should introduce teachers different resources that have turned out to be effective to teach STEAM education. When I speak about resources, I am referring, for example, to GeoGebra or contexts like 3D printing or tracker or different tools. In addition to knowledge about the STEAM education, we should provide teachers knowledge, or we should deliver knowledge about learning methodologies. During the interviews, the following learning methodologies were proposed. STEAM trainers propose problem-centered learning, collaborative learning, inquiry-based learning, design-based learning, game-based learning, and project-based learning. In particular, we decided to deal with project-based learning and different dimensions within project-based learning. Why we should provide information about or knowledge about learning methodologies? Because non-experienced teachers may find difficulties in implementing activities requiring long periods of time. So we need to train teachers not only on methodologies such as project-based learning, who require a lot of time, but methodologies that allow teachers that allow to adapt the activities to different periods of time. If you have never implemented STEAM activities, maybe you cannot be implementing the same activities during 2 or 3 months. So we need different learning methodologies, not only project-based learning. In addition, teachers need to know how they have to deal with students and families, because sometimes students and families are reluctant to implement active learning methodologies. So we need to provide them with knowledge to highlight the benefits of active learning methodologies over a traditional approach. In addition, we need to develop teachers' soft skills, in particular collaboration. High school teachers tend to teach her or his subject, but they don't collaborate in other subjects with other teachers. But it is really important to do that. But not only you have to collaborate with teachers. As a teacher willing to implement STEAM education, you may collaborate with professionals and also with researchers. And why is important collaboration? Because teachers usually find difficulties in dealing with content in which he or she is not a specialist. As I have mentioned at the beginning, high school teachers are subject specific. So if I have knowledge about mathematics, maybe I don't have a strong knowledge on physics or chemistry or other subjects. And STEAM activities require different knowledge or knowledge from different disciplines. So in addition, not only when I talk of knowledge, I am not only referring to subject matter knowledge, but I am also speaking about knowledge about the context of the activity. Sometimes the lack of knowledge is not related to the own discipline, but is related to the context in which the activity is developed. So in this case, it's important to be in contact with professionals or researchers in the field. And in addition, that this is one of the main points to achieve a good implementation in STEAM education, is to be able to promote high cognitive demands from different disciplines, not only from your own discipline. What we have observed, for example, is that when you are a mathematics teacher, you tend to develop or to promote high cognitive demands in mathematics. But when you are not a mathematics teacher, you don't tend to do that. So you are really focused on your own activity, on your discipline, and not in the other. But however, if you collaborate with other teachers, both teachers can share the best. So they maybe are going to be able to develop high cognitive demands in different disciplines. And what we propose to deal with this problem of the lack of collaboration among teachers or professionals or researchers is to be part of a learning community that help you to find the different, to identify or find the different professionals or researchers or even teachers. If you are not able to find a teacher in your school, you can collaborate with teachers from other schools. In addition, and this view was shared by all people that was interviewed, is that we need to guarantee that teachers are supported beyond the workshops. We have to support them also in the design and in the implementation of STEAM activities, and it is also important to offer the opportunity to train periodically. So this is again why it's important to be part of a learning community. And what we propose for our initial design of the professional development program, we propose 4 dimensions. One is for acquiring theoretical knowledge. The second is related to, is more experimental. Then we need a phase of lesson design, and finally, we need to support them in the implementation. And it is really important that teachers feel that they have been supported, because if they are not supported, maybe they are going to abandon, and they are not going to do it because they are going to find a lot of difficulties. In relation to the theoretical dimension, what do we offer? We try to explain teachers the origins of STEAM education, the objectives of STEAM education that sometimes are overshadowed by the political issues, different adaptations of the STEAM education, different learning methodologies to implement it, and we also introduce the KICS format, how we have been doing this during 6 years. In relation to the STEAM project-based learning, we introduce theoretically the different dimensions that we consider when implementing projects. That is content integration, problem-based learning, inquiry-based learning, design-based learning, and collaborative learning. And in addition, we exemplify each category with good practice. Sometimes the practice are presented by the researchers, other by teachers, but we try that students from high school introduce their projects. For example, today we have a training, and students are presenting their work to pre-service teachers. And in addition, we offer recommendations about how to implement these learning methodologies. In the experimental dimension, we consider these 5 dimensions. They implement STEAM activities. Sometimes they are very short, and sometimes they require long periods of time, or 2 or 3 hours, I can say. I want to say, sorry. And for example, we introduce very activities that maybe can last like 10-20 minutes to be able to exemplify the different learning methodologies. For example, here teachers are trying to solve how to turn the raft without getting out of it, and the main learning methodologies that we are trying to incorporate are problem-based learning and collaborative learning. Or for example, here they have to build a table with paper capable of supporting a computer, where design-based learning and collaborative learning appear. After these theoretical and experimental sessions, we propose them to design a project, and in particular, we try to explain that it's important that teachers reflect on the relationship between its project and the Spanish curriculum. And we try to support them on the design through collective and individual meetings. And when they have troubles, we try to establish links between them and professionals or researchers in the project in the area in which the project is being implemented. And we also provide them a document with a clear structure where is clear the relation, where they have to again reflect on the relationship between its project and the curriculum. When we promote STEAM education, we don't pretend to incorporate only non-curricular content. No, we try to incorporate curricular content, but maybe they have to use a context that is not in the curriculum. And finally, we support them in the implementation of the STEAM activities. How? With individual and collective meetings, and we also sometimes go to the high schools. In addition, after the implementation of the project, we recommend them that they review the document where they describe the activity to be able to share it with others in our repository to help teachers that don't have experience on STEAM education and don't have support. And this is how we are implementing our professional development program this year at the University of Cantabria. This is our initial design, but after implementing it, that we will finish in 2 weeks, we will have the opportunity to refine it. And the idea is that this program is also implemented in other countries, Finland, Greece, Austria, and Hungary, as part of the STEAMTeach project. So many thanks to all of you for your attention, and I hope that you have understand my presentation. Sorry for my English. Thank you.
Rita, it was really nice. It was a very nice presentation, and we could understand you perfectly. Don't worry. Yeah. So, are there any questions or remarks? No. So, Zaira, you said that this will be implemented in Spain from next September. Were these changes in the curriculum done by the central government or by the central government? No? Yes?
We are going to start with a new law of education. That this law is focused on lifelong learning and on key competence. We have key competence since 2006 with our since 2006. This is our free law of education, our third law of education. Yes. We change every day, but by that year, the key competence was incorporated. The next law of education maintained it, but the new law of education that it is going to start in September introduced the term STEM. In the first and second law, we have competence in mathematics and competence in science and technology, but now we have the STEM competence in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And this law is designed by the Spanish local government, and then each region has the opportunity to introduce minor change, I can say, because these changes are maybe related with language in regions where they have two languages, the Spanish and the another, but there are not important change, or traditionally there has not been important change on mathematics. So STEM competence is going to be part of the Spanish law.
That's fantastic. This means that you are ahead of what's going on in your country. Yes, that's true. You're already, trying to keep up with it, but doing things that, for instance, preparing teachers and etc. I believe it will be extremely important, because this collaboration between teachers, and also the way that, because it's a completely different, environment, framework that you need to apply in order to teach mathematics or physics or whatever. It's a completely different setup. They have to rethink everything, and they have to prepare the classes, all classes again. Yeah, so this will be quite a challenge for them too, right? Not only for you and the project, the people involved in the project, but also for the other teachers, right?
Yeah, it is going to be a challenge for teachers, but also for trainers, because I feel that they have incorporated a lot of things. For example, you have to implement projects, and you have to develop number sense, and you have to develop algebraic sense. So it's like a mix of a lot of things, without clear objectives and guidelines for teachers. And if you don't train them, it is going to be the same as 5 years ago or 1 year ago. They are not going to be able to absorb that information, because they are not specialists on number sense, algebraic sense, stochastic sense, project-based learning, STEAM education, and it's like a lot of things that need to be assumed by teachers, and it is difficult to do that without training.
Yeah, that's usually what governments do with respect to education, right? Unfortunately, they just throw things at us, and then you handle it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, so thank you very much. Are there any other questions or remarks to Zaira?
Carla, may I ask one thing to Zaira?
Of course, Linda, please.
Zaira, when you are applying or trying to apply these changes, are you thinking of? Sorry, my clock just ticked. Are you planning to stay with the same schedule with classes? I mean, because I believe now you have one class of mathematics, then one class of physics, then one class of biology, and the subjects are separated between the teachers and in schedules along the week. When you are trying to change the way of teaching, are you also trying to make some changes in the schedules? And with this, I mean to be able to have one teacher or two teachers of different subjects at the same time with the students?
I think that it will be the most effective way of implementing STEM education, because if the government says me that officially I am a mathematics teacher, I have 4 hours per week to teach mathematics. I cannot use 5 hours for teach mathematics, physics, chemistry as part of STEAM education. So I think that the most efficient or easier, but it is not easy, will be to share hours with teachers from the disciplines that your project is incorporated. But yeah, if I read the law, if I am viewing or observing that, yeah, your comment is not considered, for example, because, yeah, you have to promote the STEM education, okay, but you have your hours for your subject, not for, maybe it will be, I don't know, or a subject or a STEAM subject 1 hour per week or something like that. That is taught by 2 teachers, maybe from 2 different disciplines or something like that, will facilitate the implementation of STEAM education.
Because what I feel when these changes are proposed is that they still want to have the old system, but they want also at the same time the new system, and we as teachers have to be able to do both things at the same time, and it's not possible because time is fixed. So yeah,
maybe this would have to be a compromise, you know, maybe one afternoon, 2 hours or so a week together, so the every teacher of that class together in the same room, and try to every 2 or 3 teachers in the same room for 2 hours, for instance, and work on a common project instead of in every class, because I think, just like Linda said, maybe it will be heavy on the teachers also to apply STEAM, PBL, etc. in all classes, because it's extremely exhausting and it takes a lot of time. Exhausting in the sense that in order to have a PBL, meaningful PBL, there's a lot of things behind, a lot of things that the students have to think about, have to implement, and this takes time. So maybe kind of a compromise and having the schedule of the students and the teachers 2 hours set each week to work together in a common project. Maybe this could be a solution. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Carla.
Yeah, but it is also important that if we do that we try to involve teachers with a very different background, because here in Spain there are some pilot trainings, for example, where mathematics and biology are taught together. What happened that when a biology teacher is teaching that subject, the subject tends toward biology, but when the mathematics teacher do it, the teacher tend to do mathematics because they don't feel confident to implement the biology concepts. So it's important to find a way to combine teachers, but not teachers, maybe 2 teachers from physics or two physicist teachers. No, 2 teachers, maybe one from mathematics and other for biology, because otherwise it is not possible.
Yeah.
Here in ISEP, we had an experience. We have experiences in courses and in degrees. The European project semester, for instance, you have a common project, and several teachers come to guide the students. And in robotics, in master in robotics, students have a laboratory to work inside it, and they are working on their projects, and sometimes they are called by the teachers to have traditional classes or to have some briefing.
Mm-hmm.
When they implemented this master, and they could see the dual master course as a combination of several courses in a common project. It was a completely out of the box way of thinking the masters, and perhaps in secondary students some experiences. We have also some intermediate experiences that are the projetos integradores, integrative projects. at the end of a semester, for instance, in the informatics degree, that where students are all are working on a project, but only for part of the semester, and the teachers orient them in time slots.
So here in institution, I think you have it also in other institutions. There are some courses in which the students work, for instance, for 3 or 4 weeks in a common project. It's a PBL, and the teachers from mathematics and also from, in this case, informatics and I think management, they work together to propose this PBL, and then the students work solely on that project for 3 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah, but Pedro forgot to mention that all of the other weeks, in this case, are fulfilled with the subjects, with each teacher teaching his own subject at those scheduled times. So it's not a PBL for the whole semester. Let's say everything is compressed in the first 12 weeks, and then the last 3 weeks they do these PBLs together. So it's interesting. But only for a certain amount of time. Okay, this is different from this European project semester, which I think is the full semester doing PBL.
And the master's course, robotics, is also the full course on that.
But I also think it's very nice ideas, of course, and it's of course thinking like if there is no box, instead of thinking outside the box, is thinking if there is no box, as if there is no box. But I don't know if we have to think about the maturity of our students, right? For instance, in secondary schools or primary schools or etc., right? I don't know. I really don't trust that the students by themselves, even with the guidance of the teachers, have enough know-how to do PBLs during the full semester. I don't trust that. They have first to have the basis, the ground basis, solid basis on each of the subjects, and then apply them. So you talk, right? Without solid ground knowledge.
I think that there are parts that you need to have a strong background, and you don't have to get that background through STEAM project-based learning. For example, if you have to sum fractions, maybe if you sum a fraction, you are not going to understand how this process is done. So maybe you have to repeat and repeat and repeat. So I don't think that you can cover the whole curricula with project-based learning, for example, because you need a strong base, but project-based learning can help you to apply that concepts or apply that base knowledge, and to acquire competence related to, I don't know, digital competence, entrepreneurship, collaboration, collaborative teamwork, that is necessary for your future and for your work. But there are other parts that need to be, I think, that acquired in a traditional way, or especially for mathematics. I think that it is really abstract.
Mathematics is a slow digestion food. So it needs time for digestion. It cannot be.
You need to fight with mathematics to understand it.
but that fight is needed, because the student has to feel the difficulties by himself.
Yes.
When he overcomes the difficulties, he understands completely the problem, and he appropriates himself of the problem and how to solve it. if he sees, or if we do PBL with them, it's very nice. I really like that, but to feel the utility of the subject, not to understand the subject completely.
Exactly. Yeah, to sense utility. I think that is the key. The key is the key.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
You can apply it.
Yeah.
That's true, absolutely true. So, and we should. It's a compromise. We have to have time to students to learn by themselves, to know the theory. It's true, either if it's very, or if it's easier, or if it's not that easy, they have to do it by themselves, and then they have to have also some time to be able to see, for instance, mathematics as part of the world that we live in. So there has to be a compromise, but the essential, the basic, the mathematics basics has to be there. Otherwise it's just fluffies in the air, and and they forget about it. It's very nice to do PBL. It's very nice to do everything, all of these techniques, but then they forget it. But if they know the basics, and then if they apply it and know what they're doing, then they won't forget anymore.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion. Sorry.
Yeah.
Strong
Yes.
opinion.
Me too.
Me too.
So any other questions or remarks?
Nope.
Okay, so Zaira, it was a fantastic discussion. Thanks, Lynn, also for your grades on this. Thanks, Pedro, for your interventions. And Zaira, again, good luck for you.
Thank you.
We can meet often in the future. Y enhorabuena por todo.
Gracias.
Thank you so much. Bye bye. See you.
Bye.
See you.
See you.